Started.
Yeah, that was horrible.
I don't
He
have a
ran
gavel.
into dirt
but,
and came to a dead stop.
Jeff, any announcements?
No announcements, Your Honor.
I do have one. I just want to wish the Elio and Kim Zeppa, longtime Riverview residents. Elio lost his mother, 97, earlier this week, late last week. We will wish them the best. And we are going to move 2-1, the land,
2-2
I'm sorry, 2-2.
to 2-5.
Going to move 2-2 to 2-5 and 2-5 to 2-2. So we're going to just swap those. So let's get back to 2-1.
2-1.
Discuss landfill land division of 15831 Pennsylvania Road. This is going to be Dave.
Dave Skirtle, please come up here and,
Sit right here. Well, you can sit right, Mr. Mr. Gray.
Who do we have with us, Dave?
This is Nikki Nelson. She lives on Pennsylvania Road for many, many years. And
Passed yesterday, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So she's a resident, longtime resident. Mrs. Nelson owns 3 properties on Pennsylvania Road. 2 of them face Pennsylvania, one's a landlocked piece. It's west of Grange Road on Pennsylvania. She has a brick, I believe a ranch, is it a brick ranch? Right on the Pennsylvania. There's a small white rental house that sits in the back, and that's on the property.
The one
too.
that's going way back?
Yeah.
Okay.
There are actually 3 properties there. And Mrs. Nelson would like to split off a half acre of where her home is right now, because she's moving.
Uh-huh.
And she would like to split that off, and to do that, it requires council action. It requires planning commission recommendation and council action.
Has it gone through the planning commission yet?
Yes.
Okay.
And they recommend approval. And they recommend approval on 2 conditions, and 2 conditions are just to meet state law. The first is, after Mrs. Nelson splits off the half acre of her house property she's gonna sell, that leaves 3 remaining properties. Those all need to be legally combined as one parcel. Okay, and the second condition is a local ordinance and state law requires that a parcel be no longer than 3 times its width. The new parcel is going to be 7.9 times the width of the parcel. And council's the only one that can issue a variance on that, if there's good
Zoning
reason.
board doesn't do that?
Pardon me? No, this is a council action, so it's a land division act, it's not zoning, this is
Okay.
land division act. And, you know, it's just my experience, you run into these remnant parcels that aren't neatly subdivided, so it really, to us, the planning commission was fine with it. We had Randy's office look at it, we had Sohail's office look at it. No one really, other than meeting state law, no one really said anything. You know, they all give the thumbs up. And so we're bringing in a study session tonight. We got to put on it the formal item. And Mrs. Nelson's here if you got any questions.
Just one, this is your property. You
Yes,
own
it's
it.
all my property.
You can do whatever you want with your own property, but that's just my opinion.
Any other questions? Sorry, this is almost a no-brainer.
But it's a formality. I told Mrs. Nelson we have to go through the formal thing. It's no brainer. So if you want, I can put it on the next agenda.
Yes,
item.
yes.
Go to
Yes,
the
please.
independent living facility.
So explain what's the next step? then?
Next step is I'll get an agenda item to Jeff, and Jeff will put it on as a formal agenda item. It's just an approval on conditions. Then we'll have the assessor run with it after that.
Okay, we're done.
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you, Mrs.
How
Nelson.
It was
easy.
a pleasure to meet you.
Now, are you moving out of the city?
Yes, I am. I'm going to an independent living facility
Mm-hmm.
because I don't have any family left and I'm totally alone, so I think I should be somewhere, if, you know,
Oh,
something
well, we
happens.
wish you the best.
Send us a postcard.
Yeah.
I'm not going that far.
Thank you, Mrs. Nelson. I'll stay in touch with you, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks a
Thank you.
lot.
Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you.
Now we're gonna
Okay,
go
now we're
2-3.
to 2-3?
Yes?
Okay. Oh, sorry. Discuss acceptance of the Planning Commission's 2023 annual report.
I'm just gonna sit here. I think I'm camped out here all night.
All right.
Tonight's your night.
Where's the rest of the commission, Scott?
I am the sole representative for tonight.
Oh, good luck. It's good seeing you.
I'm going to introduce this to Scott Williams. He's our chairperson for the Planning Commission. He was elected in September of this year. By state law, the planning commission has to turn in an annual report on what they did. This is just fact finding, showed what ordinances they worked on, site plans, and what they did for the past year, and that's why we're here tonight, to answer any questions you have, and I think that tonight we just need acceptance. I don't think a motion's needed to do this, it's just accept it.
Well, we won't take action tonight. We'll put it on the agenda
Yeah, put it on
for
the agenda.
formal
Gotcha.
action next
Okay,
meeting.
that's it, okay. And it gets a 3-page report, does everybody have it?
Mm-hmm.
in front of them?
Yeah, background.
And I don't know, I mean, they did an ordinance amendment, they had looked like they had 4 site plans, they had 4 special land use applications they approved, 1 lot split, they finished up the master plan on December 12th. And they're getting ready, as of this Thursday, the commission's getting ready to go through the calendar of activities. Every year, our staff gets tasked with certain things you want to research or look into, ordinance changes, things like that. So we're taking that up Thursday night.
Great.
And then one other thing to add, I know we're looking at the possibility of holding a joint meeting with the council and the planning commission to go over everything and discuss any issues we might have.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
I
That'd be
think
great.
a lot of places do this, you get the ZBA involved too, so everybody's lockstep, because how it work, you guys set policy, planning commission's your main advisor to that policy, and the ZBA, you try to get them on board, because sometimes ZBAs, they're quasi judicial, they're beyond any system in here, and sometimes they can make decisions
I
that
mean, you have no
undo.
jurisdiction over this.
No, and then sometimes they can make decisions that can undo what you want to do.
Mhm.
So, we're looking at, planning commission as, right now, they were gonna do it earlier, but then we found out this economic development report for the riverfront's coming out sometime in April, so I think they would like to hold off until that report's unveiled, so we can see where to go, and then maybe they can get some ideas on how they can progress to what they need to research.
Very good.
All right.
Questions, comments? Great job.
Thank you.
Thanks, Scott.
2.4.
Discuss assisted living nursing care lift fee. Chief?
Come on up, chief.
Thanks, Dave.
Salt here, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Thank you. You'll be back.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening, Chief. Give us the 30,000-foot view to start, and then I'm sure there'll be some questions.
Okay, this ordinance basically is to, I would say, detour some of the facilities in town from abusing our service. I have found out through some of our members in the department that, in speaking with staff members at assisted living or nursing homes, that they have been told not to pick up patients, just call 911, because they're concerned with injuries. They have minimal staff, they don't want to lose somebody because they pulled a bag or something, so just dial 911. The unfortunate thing with that is that far too often when we're tied up doing a lift assist at a facility, we get an emergent call, and consequently then we have to rely on one of our neighbors for mutual aid when our response would be much quicker. So that's a huge concern to us. Right now, on average, we probably do a total of 10 to 12 lift assist runs per month. I did try to get into the system today to do an accurate number, and the system was down. It wouldn't let me run the data. But here probably tomorrow or the next day, I should be able to get more accurate numbers, and I can forward that information to you. But again, this is to act as a deterrent. Hopefully with that, I mean, we've talked to some of the directors at the facilities, you know, to try to explain to them what 911 service is actually for. So we're trying to build on that relationship with the facilities as well. So this was actually an ordinance that we looked at, Randy, what, 3.5, 4 years ago.
I remember this.
And, you know, we kind of held off on it, you know, because the numbers dropped a little bit, but now they're spiking again. So that's why we're bringing it forward.
So just so at least I'm clear, lift assist would be something it's just simply their help to lift them up, pick them up, but not transport them.
No medical necessity, just a lift assist, pick them up off the floor.
Or the toilet, or the shower,
Yeah,
bathtub.
Yeah.
So where I talked to the chief about this was
was bothersome to me is these people are paying these facilities for monthly housing. And, you know, instead of hiring staff or hiring equipment to lift these people up, they're taxing our fire department to come and do this. So I think it's important that we look at any of these facilities who are charging rent to their, you know, to their tenants, and say that this is, you know, across the board, you know, hey, if you're gonna call us on a non-emergent call to help you get this person off the floor, off the toilet, out of the tub, then there's a charge. I mean, they're, you know, you don't want to tax or charge people, but they're in the business of this, and
So that's a good question, is who pays this fee? Is it the facility or the customer, would just say the
Well,
patient?
the idea is that it would be billed at the facility. They're the one that are calling us. In many cases, the resident or, you know, tenants, they don't even know that we've been called.
Mhm.
What-
Is this do other departments have the same issue, or are we unique because we have a large number of senior homes?
All departments deal with it in one fashion or another. We tend to get more calls because of the facilities that we have in town.
Chief, about how long does each lift assist take? If it's non-emergent, you're literally just coming in, picking them up, putting them back in bed, taking off.
From the time we get the call till the time we get back in quarters, generally 30 minutes or so.
Okay, thank you.
Chief, how about, is this going to affect our residents, like a senior at home that has a spouse?
We continue to pick up our residents. We've never charged them for that service, and we don't intend to.
So it would strictly be, we have employees that are there to assist that may not be, what a private my next door neighbors are in.
That's
And
what I was
I'll go
thinking.
over there if I'm home, but if I'm not, you know.
Sure, sure.
Okay. When I read this, I was like, oh my gosh, so this is.
No.
most of the calls too, you know, sometimes it takes the equipment you have to help get them up, right?
Depending on the nature, sometimes, I mean, we may have to send everybody we have on duty at the end of the facilities. And we know in some cases that the facilities will accept certain patients and they don't have equipment to help lift those individuals if they need to be lifted. And certainly, I mean, I'm of the opinion that they're getting the money to accommodate those people. They should have the proper equipment and staffing.
That's a safety issue, but I think they would be able to.
Randy, were you involved in putting this ordinance together?
Yeah. And the chief is right. I mean, it's I don't know if when we leave the station, do we know it's an emergency, it's non-emergency? Or do we just roll as if it were an emergency?
Well, one of the things that we've done is that because, and through the help of Dr. Ganaga, this was something that we've talked about on numerous occasions, is because when we run emergently to a scene, we're putting people in jeopardy. Our own staff, people on the road, all those things come into play. So one of the things that I've done, is that we try to get the best accurate information that we can from our dispatch, and they've been notified that, you know, if somebody calls with a lift assist, make sure there's not a medical necessity. If there's a medical necessity, we're going to run emergently because we don't know what the nature is. However, if it's clear to us through dispatch asking the proper questions that it's a lift assist only, there's no injuries, they're just down, they need help getting them up, we run non-emergently.
Mhm.
Chief, one last thing. I know of a couple of facilities have Hoyer lifts. Are they doing it, is it just inconvenient to use? I have a Hoyer lift at home, and it takes a little bit of effort to use that to get somebody off the floor.
Yeah.
Is it sometimes just laziness, you think?
Could be. I mean, I'm not going to speculate because I'm not actually in the facilities when they do the lift assist to ask the questions or see exactly what's going on. The information that I receive is from our personnel, interacting with staff, what they see, Sometimes it's often the same person that they're going back to assist in getting up off the floor. Sometimes we've had situations where an individual's been on the floor for several hours in these facilities.
Wow.
And I'm like, how does that happen? How does that happen?
All right.
Any other questions for the chief?
No.
So next step would be when we do the first reading of this.
Could be next meeting. regular
Could be
meeting.
next meeting.
Go ahead, Dave.
Quick question, well, a few actually. So, if, at a minimum, first off, how many times has doing one of these non-emergency lifts caused a conflict in an emergency call? Do you know?
Again, I would have to go back and look through all of the runs and see if there was, if there was another run that was backed up to that, whereas an emergent type run, I would have to specifically pull that data out over a period of time. It's something that I can do, but it's going to take a little bit of work.
So my concern is, so just doing the math here, if we have 10 calls per month, times 12 months, that's $60,000 that we could be charging the facility if you're doing $500 per lift assistant. What my concern is that, especially in our lower income senior homes, which I'm guessing those are probably less equipped than some of the others, what concerns me is those facilities are going to turn around and go after low-income seniors. I agree that we need a deterrent. Absolutely, we need a deterrent for them just to rely on you guys to do all these lifts, but I guess my main concern is, are we going to be hitting up low-income seniors to pay for
Give me an
these
example, what's
lifts?
a low-income senior home? Just give me an example of one we have. Just so I know what we're talking about.
Well, maybe low-income is a poor phrase, but I'm guessing that some of our facilities, knowing some of the people, I don't believe they have the disposable income to
The facility or the patient will say that's.
the patients.
Mhm.
Because I don't believe for a minute that the facility's going to take a hit. I believe they're going to pass these costs on to the residents. It's just,
But according to, I'm not answering, I mean, it's a valid point, is, this fee would go to the facility, not the resident.
I understand that, but I also feel like the facility would turn around and hand those costs off to the residents.
Your Honor, if I may.
May not.
Is that legally possible?
Well, I think I know what he's referring to. And in that form of housing, first of all, let me back up a little bit and draw your attention to the definition of assisted living
Okay.
facility, which is in 18-70 under definitions. Assisted living facility means an assisted living establishment licensed as a business by either the city or the state, including but not limited to independent living facilities, group homes, adult foster care facilities, and any other residential setting that provides assisted living services for remuneration to two or more persons who reside in such residential setting and are not related to the owner, blah, blah, blah. And it does not include a home, an apartment, or a facility in which one, casual care is provided at irregular intervals, which I think addresses, if you and I are thinking of the same facility.
We are.
This would not, this would exclude them
Okay,
from that.
okay.
Or, number two, a competent person residing in such home, apartment, or facility provides for or contracts for his or her own personal or professional services if no more than 50% of the persons residing in that home, apartment, or facility receive such services. So I think that excludes the situation that we're talking about.
Thank you for reading my mind.
Good point.
But yeah, if you could, just for my own knowledge, if you could let us know how many times that's interfered with an emergency call, that'd be great.
And you need the fixed remuneration before you spell it wrong.
Was it really?
It's remuneration. All right, just, you know about those things.
So the main thing we're trying to do here is facilities that have full-time staff, that their job is to provide constant care. And it's a simple, hey, let's do it, or we don't feel like doing it, you know, we played golf and now we're sore, or hypothetically, you know, we're gonna limit that. But people that actually need the assistance are still gonna be able to get that. It is what I'm buying from this, like, you put mom or grandma in a place, grandpa, you know, so they have round-the-clock care. That's what we're talking about, and that's what we're targeting here, correct?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Well, I would add full/part-time staff.
Okay. That's somebody.
But that's the
not
point,
all the-
yeah.
Okay,
Mhm.
right.
Paid for care too.
Yeah.
A lift for that purpose can be purchased from, depending on the
Exactly.
type you want, between
Exactly.
$800 and $1,500.
Yeah,
And then they can do it themselves.
yeah, we have some of those at my
Mhm.
site, and they're pretty damn easy.
Any other questions for the chief? Thank you, chief.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, sir.
Thanks, Chief.
Also, we're all on board with putting on the agenda.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
All right, okay, where are we going here, the
Special
special update?
Yep,
Okay.
special projects update. We'll start off with Miss Jennifer Boyer, the environmental engineer at the Land Show. Give Kevin the night off.
All right.
So we have a couple things. The RNG facility that DTE is operating at the landfill is in the final stages of commissioning, and we're going to be meeting with them next week to talk about payment structures and how that's going to be calculated and distributed to the city. So that's going fairly well. And then we also are working with the landfill staff to develop some ideas about where the GCCS expansion should go, where we're going to need new wells installed, where pipes need to be repaired, and that type of thing to continue providing good gas for the RNG facility. So that's in early stages. We'll probably ask for authorization to go out for bid at next month's meeting. So thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer.
With the hope to be done by Memorial Day weekend.
As always.
Next.
Dave Skirdo. He's filling in for.
He's itching to stand up.
Yeah, he's filling in for Sohio tonight. Sohio was excused and not able to be here, so he'll do his first.
I'll
Is
do
his
mine
birthday?
first.
So,
Most of the last month has been kind of geared towards cannabis. We have the Backpack Boys, which is the Burger King. They're going for their third round of reviews with the Planning Commission on March 1st. We're working with the owner of that vacant site. It's kind of sandwiched between Taco Bell, Concessions, and the mobile station.
Where Denny's used to be?
Where Denny's used to be,
Where
trying to figure
Dunkin'
out,
Donuts.
we're giving them their deadlines. Is Dunkin' going, or are you guys coming in, we've got competing applications for those two? And those have been the big ones, other than helping the other groups get their signs approved. You know, the Two Jars facilities and the Green Acres. So we've been mostly wrapping up things like that. We've been working with Jeff and Randy and them on the selling that Grange Road, that 9.7 acre Grange Road property. We got property appraisal back, and the wetlands is coming back soon, so we're ready to move.
We'll probably be bringing that forward to put it out to bid, to approve to put that out to bid for sale. It's not recreational or park, so council can just authorize me to put that 9 acres out for bid. So-
Well, be it put out for bid or like request for proposals of, obviously.
Well, yeah,
whatever the
same
use is.
request for proposals,
All right.
so that they would best tell you what they would want to put into those 9 acres.
And
And
we had that
about,
discussion about, obviously, with our capacity and sewers, and that, just, we talked about the other meeting.
we have enough capacity for that road to be developed. So Ohio told me that, so that's a good area, that area with our pipes and our sewers.
Good.
So,
Okay, so Ohio projects, I've got 6 of them here. They're still processing through the relief sewer connection to DUA, and they're waiting for DUA to comment and approval on the revisions of the plans. Sewer lining programs proceeding. They're waiting the contractor's mobilization. The hydro excavating for lead service inventory, the contract is signed. There will be a kickoff meeting with the contractor coming up. No date shown here. The lead services replacement program, they're waiting for the contractor to provide the insurance and bonding before they can final the agreement. They are preparing a grant application for the ARPA Eagle funds for lead service investigation grant.
Do you know the dollar amount with that, Dave? I don't-
No, he doesn't have that here, I'm sorry, Jeff.
Yeah, I think it's 300.
Okay.
So
And
that
then
would
there's various
cover a lot
site
of our
plans and
costs of that
inspections.
program.
300 what?
1,000, I think.
Just wanted to verify.
That's what I think. I'm speaking out of memory, but if it's that much, then we would cover most of our costs for the lead pipe excavation and replacement.
Awesome.
So hopefully we'll get that. And I know that Flat Rock got that grant.
Was it Gibraltar?
Gibraltar got it
Gibraltar,
too, I
believe.
think.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yep,
I think he's also doing it in Allen Park.
yep.
Okay.
And he's been very successful in getting
And
that
that'll cover
grant.
most of our costs?
It should, most of them.
And how many of those do we do each? Is that a?
Well, I know that they came in and inspected the records. Is Jeff here? Jeff?
Good job.
Jeff had very good records, and they still, even looking at his records, they still wanted, how many potholes, Jeff?
Well, the potholes, we have to do over 300, but as far as the lead replacement goes, 5 to 7 every year.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So there's only about 86 known lead lines in the city.
The problem with that is, even though we have documentation, we don't have documentation of exactly what pipe was used. So if the home was built in the 70s and they would have used copper or PVC or what have you, if he was out, their argument, Eagle's argument was that, well, he could have grabbed lead pipe from the truck because that's all he had in his truck left because he was, so we didn't have photos or we didn't have whatever. Even though Jeff has it properly recorded on the build sheet for the house, it's not verified, I guess, so that's.
Jeff,
what
are
it
these
is.
mostly are all on the east side of Fort Street?
Yep, east side of Fort Street, between Pennsylvania and Sibley.
Right.
No,
Not your house? Okay. Thank you. Next.
I think that's special update report.
Thank
Hey,
you.
real quick, just out of curiosity, how many active cannabis licenses are there now? I see there's 4.
We have 3, we have 1 that's active license that are open for business.
Yeah.
We have another 3 that are, I expect any day for them to come in, they're just finishing up all their inspections.
Okay, so right now, we're.
I'm gonna say
now
4,
four.
yeah, I can see comfortably say 4.
That's what I thought.
And 5 would be potentially the Burger King.
5 be the Burger King, and if the cannabis goes where the Dunkin' site is, the old Denny's, that'd be 6. Then we've had, actually, 2 things, I've had 2 interested persons looking at a Jefferson Avenue property, across from where Whalen is, and it's an open area, so.
Uh-huh. Great.
All right.
Anything else?
No, and so now we're at 2-5, so the directors are free to go. This is going to be a talk
Staff aren't
between
involved
council and
aren't
us.
involved in the strategic vision plan.
No.
Leave?
Good night, guys.
Good night.
That's not you, Dave.
Dave's got to stay.
Nice
I
try.
wonder if anybody else knows he's getting ready to run out of here.
I bet it's Central Ohio Governmental Services.
Okay, Your Honor, well, we talked about this vision plan. I didn't change the date, I left it 2030. We talked about it prior to the new council members coming on. But, I think Dean can speak to the plan of how it was done, and the mayor can speak to the plan, how it was done, because they were around. In summary, it was 3 weekends a month, 3 Saturdays, many afternoon and evening meetings, and I think at one point, Dean, wasn't there 88 people involved on that?
Yeah.
And Mayor, I don't mean to leave you out. It's a huge plan and undertaking. We would have to Staff can't do that. This is not a Dave and Jeff show. It's just a lot of work. Plus, even though we can add to the visioning plan, the vision's really mayor and council's vision for the city in the next so many years. And not just yours, but your recommendations to go out and recruit citizens that want to work on that visioning plan. You know, what does Riverview look like in 2035, or 2030, or 2035? What are the things that need attention? What do we do today? And Dave went through and kind of marked off some of the things that were in the what was that plan? 2020 plan. Dave marked off some of the things that were accomplished, and some of the things that weren't accomplished. Are they still important today? You know, I'm new to Riverview, but not really, because I'm living it every day, and I'm getting caught up to speed really quick of what was important in the city back then and what's kind of important now that I'm hearing. But again, the visionaries are you. I'm supposed to be the operator, that you give me the budget and your vision, and I'm supposed to operate within that. So I don't know where we go from here. I'm only bringing it up at the study session because I'd be doing everyone an injustice of just pushing it, kicking the can down the line again. So I don't know.
The last one was, like I said, 3 phases. It was several years, started in 1994, and the last record we have was 2002. I did, as part of last year's proposal, we did go through and look at some other smaller cities and what they did, and we did put together, I think it was in your background material?
Yes, it is,
Yeah.
the 2030.
Yeah, we put together a more of abbreviated, like a 15-month time frame to look at. It didn't quite have the amount of meetings per month, the amount of public involved. It was more or less based on getting direction or getting information from the directors, the staffs here, and then doing a town hall meeting. But it was an abbreviated version of it, and I don't know which, we're just trying to throw darts at a board and see what sticks and what doesn't, so.
But I think, and we're obviously going to need tons of direction, input from you.
Yeah.
The last time when I was involved in it, I was a member actually of the school board.
Mhm.
And obviously the school board, and the school's got to be highly involved in this.
Yeah.
So once our vision meetings start, I mean, the committee should define who else they want on the committee.
Yes.
And list the business leaders and school people and whatever community activist people you want involved. 'Cause clearly, you're going to need tons of input on what the people want the direction of the city to go.
And we had kind of talked about it before you and Brian got on, and we had talked about having anyone who was newly elected and a few of the ones that had been here to kind of help direct us, but more in stand back, not make it to all the meetings, just answer questions and help us out as we started making a new one. I don't know if a 2030 vision plan is attainable. I still think that's going to be a little bit too quick of a, by the time we get everyone in place, get everything started, I don't see us getting a whole lot
If you look
accomplished
at
by
my
then.
paper, I changed it to 2035.
I've been calling it the 2050 as a joke in all my emails because it seems like we can't get it off the ground and going. But now with the elections done and everything, hopefully we should be good to go now, so.
Well, I'm not sure how you want to accomplish everything. I'm just throwing it out there that, hey, let's, however council gets together and decides what they feel is important, Dave and I will participate, but we can't be the lead on the 2030 plan. So we're going to have, you'd have to figure out assigned duties to, people, residents, council, administrative duties, keep minutes, keep schedules, tackle ideas. I really like Dave's idea with the town hall meetings because you can accomplish a lot in a little amount of time, because people will come to the town hall meetings loaded with ideas and questions and what they think is important for their city. So I think that would be a really, really advantageous way of gaining a lot of, we could even set up a survey monkey And like, you know, list out there what's important to your community, what things, and, you know, list some questions, let them, and then we could compile that information. And most people that fill out Survey Monkeys, the residents, they'll give their name and their address. And if they're acting or active in that, maybe they'd want to, you know, be more involved into this, you know, this committee.
Dave, do you have, is there a template? I mean, I'm sure there's gonna be a template somewhere of these types of, all the steps, the process that this is gonna have to go through. And I mean, you could always use the 2020 plan as, you know.
I'd looked at a
example.
whole bunch of them across the state
Mhm.
and see what their processes were and things already. And I tried to take the best, I put this schedule together and this outline. I thought I took the best of what they did and just kind of put together. There's always more to look at. I mean, just as anecdotal, the planning commission, every year at the business expo, they set up a little corner in the community center and put up boards and maps and talk to people on where they want to see the land, strictly land use, not services, not DPW land use. It's amazing how many ideas they get. People start talking and looking at maps and start putting sticky notes on them and
Could do that too. You
Yeah.
could have at that, you know, this fall, you could have a table.
We
Summerfest.
could have a booth at Summerfest.
Yeah,
Summerfest, you
yeah.
can do it.
That would-
Mm-hmm.
People would love stopping by, drop off your ideas.
But I think this is why this is so important, because having a direction, you know, we have certain properties we've talked about could be purchased, and me and Councilman Workman were talking about this a couple weeks back, and how it's great, you know, but if you just sell it and then all of a sudden we're kind of, you know, like,
Oh, no.
to have
Totally
some
understood.
sense of where we, what we want it to look like moving forward, because if not, you sell it and now you're just like, well, that's
Now
out, you
what?
know? and
Yeah, you could
so
miss an
This is
opportunity.
pretty complex, like the deeper you get into it,
Yeah.
I was very, I wish.
I think if you look at the last vision plan, they got into literacy with the library and what programs they were doing, and libraries, and Zeta's all for this. And then, so they tackled DPW services, they tackled the land preserve. Master plan, which has just got adopted, was one component of it, so it was a little bit of everything. And has everybody got that silver book that they did?
I have one of
Yeah.
those.
You guys got one of these?
Everybody
Yeah.
should, I think.
Yeah.
I can make a
should
print for you, that's the
Yes,
last
please.
one I got,
I mean, this
but they did
Yeah.
give you a summary of, they have a bigger report in here that's about that thick. So this is just a summary,
Yeah, that'd
Yeah.
be great.
and I can give you, at least you see the topics that they cover.
Yes,
So it's a
please.
little bit of everything, for everything you can think of in the city, not just strictly land use. Oops, I went this way.
Mine
No,
right
it's-
I mean, and in the formation, they're doing this, it's timely because obviously we're addressing
I think
the
so.
Arkema property.
Yeah.
There's got to be
I think
some
so.
high-level vision, you know, that we have, you know, depending on the level of cleanup, you know, it's got to be part of the plan.
It sure helps the manager too, because he has a set direction for staff, and we answer to the manager, and it helps the departments to see everybody's got one vision and we're following it, and so everybody can make adjustments to staff or what the skill levels of staff are, and things like that.
Well, Rita made a joke saying, you know, she'd be calling it 2035, but actually it's 2050.
Yeah.
2035 would probably be better because that's when the landfill closes. So it's looking forward to,
And the question is this: we're only talking the forest that's shouting right now. Does the rest of the city want to close the landfill?
Are you
There's
suggesting
more
the
than 2
possibility
blocks
of
in
going
the
for
city.
another expansion?
Well,
I'm just-
that should be tossed open. You're looking at losing $300 million
to reopen it is what
to go for an expansion. You're looking at losing $300 million with no option. Where are you gonna get that kind of money?
We're
That-
already
that's-
looking at.
Now that we're already looking at cuts and everything, where are we looking to go? I mean, I don't think marijuana is gonna make
Is that-
$300 million in the
Well,
next.
I agree with that. Is that a dead issue?
Is
that
it?
something?
That's what he's saying.
This is all
Yeah.
part of this.
This is
And
part
that
of
would
the
all be
plan.
part of the plan, I mean, that's what
Yeah.
the group is going to have to
He's just throwing it.
Yeah, yeah.
address, yeah.
That's part of the plan. They might say, no, that's not the direction we want this city to go in. But it's not just the
But it's
vocal
not-
people
but
on
that group make
Facebook.
the decision,
It's gotta be
not us,
everybody
yeah.
that, in our community.
Yeah.
What are they interested in doing?
So there's also, you know, like we talked about the sale of the 9 acres, we got the 38 acres, we got the cell tower. But I was starting to look at the map over there and what, you know, in the manager's suite, and, you know, like Coachwood Park. No
Yeah,
one
we
uses
talked about
Coach
that.
Park, but how about the other one? I didn't even know about
on
it.
Grange?
On, not Grange, but.
Kings.
Yeah, in Kennebec too.
No, the Kings, whatever that, in the
middle of
forest.
Kingswood.
In the
Yeah,
middle of
look at the
forest.
size, I know people would go nuts, but look at the size of the park back here.
They keep running it down.
That's
Yeah.
the stuff
You
you gotta
could
look
put how
at.
many homes in there?
And how much.
But they would lose their
woods.
woods, people would lose the woods that they bought the house that backs up to woods, but, I mean, look at that, I mean,
A cul-de-sac could be
I
put
was
in
gonna
there
say, they can
immediately.
keep the
Yeah, Jeff and I
woods.
spoke about that.
what's that? I mean, that's just things you gotta address, it doesn't mean you gotta do them, but
Yeah.
to know the opportunities, I mean,
Well, you and I also spoke about an area being Alpha Grange, correct?
Yeah,
yeah, the 9 acres, that's the
Yeah.
one that.
that's when we're gonna be going out. to-
That's
for
where we go out
proposals.
for the request for proposal. But like that, any park would have to be to the vote of the people.
Yeah.
That's not
And there may
just
be
council.
subdivision, I think that you guys should dream, create the vision and then
Yep.
leave staff to
Yes.
figure
Yep.
out how to navigate through whatever you want.
No, I'm not saying to do that, but you just gotta look at all the different
Oh, no,
land
I-
out there that,
Just dream.
You know,
The
it's gotta
fact
be
that
brought up.
Everything is going
Yeah.
to be talked about in a
Everything
list
needs-
format.
Yes.
Not to say one thing or another,
Yeah.
but
All the
it's
stuff that we
getting-
did years ago.
Yeah, we did years ago,
Yeah.
same thing. But you have to bring this controversial stuff in to get people to attend. Because in 2012,
Yeah,
we redid this, remember? We started working on an update. We had trouble getting businesses and stuff in here.
yeah.
The ones that were there told us straight up, go for the landfill, go for the landfill,
Weren't you
go
the
for
one
the
who
landfill.
suggested we tell them we're gonna do a tax increase to
I
get them
said,
there?
yeah, let's say a tax increase,
Yeah.
let's get them in here. That, I wanted to get people in here. No one would show up, remember that? And the ones that did, do you remember what they said?
Yep.
Landfill, go for a landfill. We did that, got accused of, got no plans, got none whatsoever, but we did it in 2012. So, and it has to be well publicized, because you're all gonna get criticized, whatever happens, you had no plan. I've been through it.
Well, I think it's something that might be, and again, I wasn't here then, but one of the things that might be to your, I think to your point is, now we're on the preface of essentially a mandated increase in taxes, and that's my understanding was with that elimination that we really had no choice, otherwise we wouldn't be managing the city.
Correct.
Correct?
Correct.
That is, someone else, the state, would be running things. So it's going up, and that might kind of open possibilities that may have not been realized before, because if it's 2 now, but if nothing changes, it could be more next time, and I don't want to see that, and nobody here, I don't think wants to see that. But I think the fact that it's beginning, unfortunately, that might be a positive, actually, if that makes sense.
Well, I think Councilman Robbins is right. I mean, if you present this in the right way, it can be a very positive experience. And maybe with all the options you look at, we don't have to look at such, increases, tax increases.
We want the butts of the people in the seats in the city to give us their view.
And
That's-
the more
that's
people,
far
the
right.
more opinions, the more ideas, that idea sparks another one, the brainstorming can lead to things that no one ever thought possible, so.
So,
Do we
like,
just need to form a committee, and then the committee of council will then start asking residents, business owners, and go from there? Is that our first step?
Yeah,
I
well, I
think
think we've
so.
got the
You get-
base
you get
committee.
the base
but
committee, but you
that-
gotta build the soldiers now.
Yeah, you guys have to build
The
out,
soldiers.
yeah, who you
Like,
want.
what residents,
Yeah.
what businesses, what, people from the school board, you'll want the school board, as the mayor said, I think that's important, and you'll wanna do that.
On the base committee that we have for the 2030 vision, are there any school board members?
No, all
No,
we
that's
have
just
is
council.
Councilwoman Ganago, Councilwoman Neal, and
I didn't know if
Councilman
we had
Webb.
any
Yeah.
extra.
No, but that
But
committee
we'll
will.
start reaching out.
You'll start recruiting.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
So-
Mr. Kaminsky, would you like to join this?
Perfect one.
Going around.
So another question that I have is, the ones that aren't on that core, I'm assuming though, if there's something that we can do, we're allowed to do that, right?
Absolutely.
Like as far as off to the side, I know there's not 4 for a reason, but
We're gonna
like,
need an army of foot soldiers.
this is gonna be
Yeah.
in every
All
person,
hands
all hands
on
on
deck.
deck, so to speak,
Yeah.
you know? So,
Yeah.
let me know.
Yeah, because you're
you
not
know,
making
it a
policy, you're
direction-wise,
not-
because this
you're
is- This
just-
is pertinent.
Yeah.
Now, Dave, this is not your first rodeo, I know also. What is the normal procedure that we would proceed forward, that you've experienced in the past in your
Oh,
different
God, I've
communities?
done so many of these things for big groups, for thousands as well as small groups. First step is just find out, I think the first step is find out what you want. I think the committee itself, the council committee, first step is to sit down and figure out, what are we looking for? What type of information do we want? Is it services, is it land use, or just stay broad brush? At that point, then you can figure out, the next step is to figure out who needs to be on this committee to advise us. And is it the directors, is it staff providing information, is it outside experts, is it whatever? Then once you get everything set up, then you can start looking at how do you want to engage the public? Do you want to engage the public in like town hall forums? Do you want two of them? Do you want, what key points? We can help you through all that, to figure all that out. Do you want to, public hearing notices go out through the clerk's office? You can use the web page, social media, that's all the above. So it's trying to figure out your whole communication pattern, figure out what you want, who should be advising directly, and then what the communication is. And I think it's your first step. Then I think it's going to gain a life of its own at that point. It's daunting to start these things. Once you get rolling, it's not that, it's like pushing a
Yeah.
big boulder down the hill. Once it gets rolling, you're just keeping the boulder straight. So you know it's not like 4 years up the road and you're still trying to figure this out.
Like on that 9 acres, whenever it's bid out or request for proposals, whatever proposals we're looking at, then I can take it back to the assessor and we can work on what annual taxes would be, in theory.
Right.
So that'll give you an idea. What's the taxes if it's detached condos? What's the tax if it's a subdivision, a detached condo subdivision?
Right.
And, you know, we can look at all those things, but it'll have to be after you decide what the land use is.
I mean, we can get like the big thing, we'll get the commissioner, see, maybe you have a planning commissioner advise you, sit on these things. I mean, right now, with different ways of doing land use with the golf course and land preserve, I got a divided commission over which direction they should go. But you can lean on them, you can lean on, boy, the ZBA's got a wealth of people, been here forever. And they got real good, just objective ideas, not subjective, but objective ideas.
Is there some sort of way that, you know, somebody submits a proposal, let's say, this is our idea, yada, yada, there's a time frame on that? Like, I can't, but let's just use me for an example. I decide to buy X amount of acres, this is my plan, but I can't own that for 40 years. I could, it's mine. Is there a way that the city is gonna?
You put timeframes on the construction.
I
That
think the
is
latest
a
one, they got 1 year, the latest one that we got Randy and Jeff's got to look at, because I'm still noting it up. We got a meeting Thursday on this, because it's timely. But we're gonna put in there 365 days to get this started, or else you lose. Not only do we're gonna go look at the next person in line, but we're gonna probably keep a certain amount of money for all the admin time. 10% or 15% or something like that, to cover all our time. There's a lot of time putting forward looking at these.
And let's just use that 9 acres. If they come in there, we'll have a date, well, before they can start anything, they gotta install a street and streetlights. And why do you wanna do that? Because if it fails, it's already done.
It's already
for the
there.
next
It's already
one.
there,
Yep. So we wouldn't be stuck with that cost. They would put that in and we would charge them up front for that, so. And I'm just talking off the cuff, because I have no idea what you're gonna decide
Yeah.
to put in there, but that's just an example of.
In a
how
sense like that, if it's not, like, you can also do that to completion, correct?
Yes.
And- Okay.
Yep, absolutely,
We can't
absolutely.
totally, set it up. But just say get the infrastructure done first, that way you can get somebody else in the infill. That much easier.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, we'll be way ahead of that game. We'll chart it out for you, we'll pencil it out, whatever you decide, and say, this is how we think it should work, and if you're in agreement, then we'll have the attorneys put the agreement together with some teeth in it, so that it'll get moving, and they can't just keep, oh, we're waiting on wood, or we're waiting on
Yeah.
whatever. No, this is the contracted date, or you'll lose it.
It just reverts back.
Mhm.
It's a verbiage, it's a clause.
Absolutely.
So the first thing the committee can do is decide what the name is going to be, 30, 35, 50, whatever.
Yeah, right, right. But it is a large task. And
It
just to
is.
let you know, there was a time, I'm sure in the city, way before Dean even was the city manager.
What? It
that-
existed then?
Yeah.
It did.
That.
It was a village then.
I was a rookie.
That, way before Dean, where directors were administrative directors, now they're working directors, so they don't have people underneath them where they're just reviewing their work, they're actually doing the work. So for the staff to get into a 2050 plan, it'll be huge taxing on them, because it's not like they got a lot of extra time. Hence, there was a time where DPW was twice as big as it is, the finance department was 3 times as
But they
big
can
as it
still be a resource.
They
not,
can, but they just can't be the major doers because they wouldn't have that time available to do.
Yeah.
So I want to throw that out there, just so you know.
And we're also salaried, so we can work as much as we want, and it doesn't affect the city.
And we're not, we're exempt, right?
Yeah, you can take a look at part of the background. I did put a task 1, task
Mhm.
2, try chronological order. This can be modified all you want. We're here, that's why we're here. We can help you through that, try to figure out how you want to go and just flesh
Mhm.
this outline out more definite tasks, more fine tune it if you like. So,
Well, yeah, maybe
you don't have to tackle this alone.
you and Jeff and Andy kind of look at the schedules, and maybe we can get that email chain started for times and availabilities, and nail down a date to kind of start brainstorming and talking about what we need.
I would love for just the general stuff to be done up until June when the budget's completed,
Mhm.
and then kind of take after the budget, because I
That's
wanna
gonna
get
be our
that
lead.
budget done.
Yep.
Something like that would be like any other committee. If you're not on it, you can sit in the audience, borrow it,
Yeah.
have for 5 minutes
Yeah.
if need be.
Yeah.
Perfect.
But I'm just, the timing wise, I'm like, really,
Yes.
this is crunch time for Ann and I with the budget and all the departments, so
Yeah.
I would hate to throw another thing on them
No, no, no.
right now.
Well, we need to know
But-
the
but
budget
after
before we
June-
can make any plans. We have to know the budget first.
And again, you guys get full disclosure of the
Well,
budget, and you
I
get to
would
review
maybe
that.
answer a question, not really. I mean, this is
Embedded in there
so
someplace.
long-term. Maybe, a little bit of attention to this budget, but
Everything
makes sense.
happens.
with whatever the plan is, they'll adjust the budget years down the road
Yeah.
to accomplish some of those goals.
I can do that.
Sure.
Yeah.
But I don't want to mess with this budget
Yeah,
that they're
of course.
working on now.
No,
It's so delicate.
no,
Okay.
we'll have plenty of time to talk about that. You'll get it in plenty of time, and we'll be able to talk about it, so.
Okay. All right, that's the last agenda item, I believe. Other business, Rita.
I just wanted to bring attention to Harper. She's a kindergartner at Forest Elementary. She's been diagnosed with cancer and is doing some aggressive chemotherapy. And I posted the GoFundMe on the Riverview websites today, along with on my personal page. So if anyone's able to donate, if not, prayers are accepted and gratefully accepted. So just wanted to let everyone know, keep them in your prayers and donate if you can. Their medical bills will be adding up very quickly.
We will. Any other business? I do have, go ahead, Dave.
A couple of things. Residents reached out since last council meeting. One of the questions I was asked is what the advantage is of waiting till the 2030 vision plan is complete before selling the land on Grange and Sibley.
We're not waiting to sell the land on Grange. Oh, Grange and Sibley.
Yeah.
Oh, no, that's the land that we just had,
The wetland's done, right?
the wetlands are getting done right now.
Yeah.
So as soon as they're done.
Moving forward.
It's moving
Wait.
forward.
Okay. The other thing, you received my email about getting the other quotes?
I did. I
Okay.
did. I don't know which other quotes are out there, but we will.
Yeah.
Well, when we research and find the different companies, Todd's gonna do that.
All right, I've set up a couple meetings after I get those quotes.
Okay.
Hopes for,
The Walk of Lights idea.
Yeah.
I met with Jeff and Todd
okay.
to discuss getting quotes for what the exact cost would be. I think everything else complete.
Yeah. I'll ask Todd again about that.
Yeah, I
See if
think
he
so.
found- if
Anything
he-
else I'll bring up on
Yeah.
Monday.
Yeah, I'll ask if he's gotten other companies. They're hard to get because,
Yeah.
you know, this company's out of state.
Yeah, I agree.
So it's not like a million companies do this. So.
The next Monday's council meeting is moved till Tuesday,
Correct.
just to let the residents know.
Yep, correct.
Yeah, that's, everything else points in next week.
Okay. I do have one thing, for the council people that were here before November, received a booklet from the Rotary. So in the next week or two, can you turn them back in? What, if you have them, it's not necessary. Because what they do is, I mean, we had there were some questions about the management of the program, and so they've addressed those issues, and they're comfortable now with recommending a new company to manage the program. And at the study session next month, they want to present, to council again, and for Dave and well, Brian's not here. It's basically, it's a drug take-back type program, sponsored by the Rotary, where there's a kiosk type thing where these opioids and stuff could be disposed. So they usually take place in a pharmacy or, police station lobby type stuff.
Medication drop off.
Yeah, so they want to do a presentation, and just to save some money, they want to redo the book. And so if you have them, drop them off at Mary's desk, and we'll get them there, and save a little bit of money when they redo them. So that's all I really have. And now it's time for public comment. Anyone wishing to address mayor and council?
Well, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you guys for coming.
Hi, Darren Sinsett, 17820 Brinson Street. First of all, happy Mardi Gras, and to all of you, and don't forget what it's about. It's not about beads and doubloons. But anyhow, I want to ask a couple questions. You were talking earlier about the Burger King. Is that not because one of the Saad sons was talking to me, questioning about the property where the Denny's was that they own, adjoining to the gas station. Is that going to be the new location, or is it? Are they wanting to go there?
Right now, correct?
So, help us, Dave.
I'm going to help you. Yeah, I'm going to confuse you
Because
because
Because there's some contingencies.
I got two Hassads running it. One's an uncle and one's a nephew.
Right.
The one that's the uncle is the son of Bill Saad, who owns a Burger King.
Right.
They're proceeding that route. The other one, the other Hassad, who's, I think he's a son of the owner of the mobile station.
Correct.
Is looking at, they got a Dunkin' Donuts, and they got till March 27th to decide what they want to do with that site.
They were talking, I'm not on council, but they were talking to me about it. I said, you ought to come to council meetings and hear and make some.
They've been in the office this week. We sat down with them.
That's where they.
Well, evidently, that's where it was coming from.
Yeah, we gave them a whole schedule, what needs to be done, when you have to make decisions.
So it'll be
and-
one or the other, but not both.
You can't be both.
Okay. So it'll be one or the other, but
Yeah.
not both.
One would be, I mean, you're talking about the dispensary.
Whoever gets there first.
No, both of them, actually, both
They
can
both
go.
can be? If they're-
I thought you meant the Dunkin' Donuts and the
Oh.
one.
No, the Dunkin' and the.
Burger King, both can go, both can
Okay,
fit.
all right.
Okay, and such, it's just that they were talking to me about it, and I wanted to get a little bit more clarity, what was there, and I said, go talk, come sit down and talk with me, but evidently they went, this happened last week, so we were talking about this, and then again reviewed it.
Last Thursday.
Okay, timing was perfect.
Timing was perfect.
So it was on what they were doing and such, and my question, it was about that. There's a lot of things that you could do. I was watching Fox 2, and I don't know if y'all watch it, and I'm going to slaughter the guy's name, and I was just sharing it with him back there, but he helped develop Detroit, and his name is Tom Celani. It's got to be an Italian name, Celani. But he was the one that brought in the casinos, and he had so much wisdom as far as developing.
Mm-hmm.
And he's freed now. He says, man, you know what I'm thinking about doing now? Is I love dogs, and that's what I want to do. And he's a billionaire. He's done very well. But he was on Fox 2, and he was talking. And so he had some witty ideas. And what he did, and I don't know if you know this, when they brought the casinos in, he was one of the owners of Motor City. And he had that. And then he also took in something else. He said the city should receive the money daily on the taxes, not annually. And they put that in, and they made that, so he had great cash flow coming in to help the city. And I don't know if you know this guy or not, but he was like talking to Charlie Langston about it, and he said, Charlie, he says, you know, Charlie asked him, what are you doing now? He says, I've developed so many things. He says, now, he says, all I'm considering about doing is a dog park maybe. And he said, don't take that funny. He says, I've fallen in love with dogs now. He says, I've been so busy in my life. And he says, now it's just about dogs. And I thought about him. I said, man, this guy would be good to be an asset to our city if we're looking for a vision. And I, you know, Dave, you know, talked to you about it. I said,
Yeah.
what would it cost? Hey, give him a piece of the pie. You know, yeah, that's how you can work that out. But at least you have somebody who knows how to develop. And I'm not saying just bring a casino in. I'm just saying somebody who can bring other businesses into the city. And he did. He brought a lot of businesses into the city of Detroit. Did he get a piece of the pie? Yeah, I think so. But the idea is, look how it's strengthened it now and helped develop it. We're always trying to figure out ways. You know, what's our biggest sore right now? The landfill. Get rid of that. I'll preach that to you guys like I did about the quarterly financials. Let's find a way, either let's become unified and say this is our goal to sell it, or this is our goal to keep it. But we can't, you know, the Bible talks about how can you be about two different opinions? You can't walk together if you're that way. You got to come in unison. So you got to come together and say this is our goal. Sell it while we can and get something for it. We wait till it gets towards the end, then we won't. Because, you know, this is where we got to get something going. Because it's a jewel that's there. And I think you could bring more revenue in, and you can set your standards of what you want for that landfill. I'll repeat that again. You know, they just can't come in and do whatever they want. You can enforce what you want when you sell it. And I know a lot of people don't want to sell it. There's some that don't want to sell it. I want to sell it. Because you know why? That's not our business. That's not the city's business. The city's business is make everybody happy, to have all our nice parties and celebrations and have nice parks and everything, but we can't have parks. People talk about over there on the Arkema property and making it a park. That don't bring revenue, folks. I'm sorry. It's beautiful to have. You can have a section of it be a park, but you know what? That doesn't bring money to the city. We got to find things that's going to bring revenue that everybody's going to be happy about. And I think that's been our Achilles heel. You know, do we have the numbers yet on the dispensaries? That's the other question. The taxes on it? Are we seeing where they're doing on sales in the first one? Do we have numbers on those yet?
We won't get them until next year.
See, that's the thing that we could kind of focus to getting in, finding out how soon the revenue's turning there. You know, you can have proposals or projections in it, but the thing is, if you can really get into seeing how well this is going, and do you run with it, or do you say, this is a bad idea again? You know, I want to see it succeed. I don't want to see it not in the sense of this to be the pot capital. That's not my idea. My idea is that I want to see it succeed, that the city's getting revenue off of it, and we're winning, and we can find ways to do that. Every time I drive by the quarry over there, and I just see that thing, and I know I got something in my gut that tells me there's a negotiation that's going on behind the scenes for another landfill, and it's already been approved to be a landfill. And the Maroon family owns the other property. There's got to be a connection for New York trash to come to Riverview, and that's what I'm concerned about. And I think all of you are, but we don't admit it. The thing is, how do we get it to where it's beneficial for us? That's going to go to Trenton then. It's going to be outside of our, and I want to see how we can win this. Is that what y'all want to do? My question to y'all, as council, is that what y'all want to do? Is you want to see the landfill actually produce the revenue we need? Because when I found out that they're getting pensions, that they're getting $10 an hour on their pension, on the salary, on those workers on the Hill, oh my God, I know all of y'all sitting on council, that's what y'all get. That's extreme.
We don't get that.
We don't get anything.
You don't get that.
No, but the guys that work on the Hill, that's what they get. Let's get rid of that. They're not city employees. I'm sorry, I'm speaking boldly.
And well.
They're not city
it's
employees.
easier said than done, and we agree in it, but you know how it's.
Well, I know, and it was a union project, but give that union project to somebody else's back and let it be on their expense of what's going on. You know, that's how I view it. It's just not profitable for what we need. And I want to see our city prosper. You asked what the plans are for the city in the future. I hope it's not bankruptcy. Let's go forward. I'm saying that positively, not negatively. Let's find ways not to go that way. Let's find avenues to, you know, homes are good to put back over there. Is there something else that we could do with that property? Has it been certified to have something else there other than homes? Were you talking about that other piece of land, the tract of land that's back there? What is it, 9 acres? What is the code for that? For that 9
What's
acres?
the zone, Dave?
The zone that,
It's zone single family.
Zone, single
It's almost
family.
like a home.
single family, so it can only be single family, yeah.
No, it can change.
What's that?
It can change.
It can change.
Yeah.
I like what I just heard. That's my point, You know, I don't want to see a park. I want to see something else that's going to bring revenue, and it guarantees you your salaries for the next year, and the next year, and the next year, and our city continues to, and it helps our police department, fire department.
Thank you, Dave.
I think it'd be difficult to unzone it residential, though, in the middle of all the residents there on that.
It would be
Yeah,
hard.
different densities of residential.
It's the
That would be
density
cut
and the
higher
whole bit.
taxes.
That wouldn't be the easiest task.
We're already looking into the different methods and if someone wanted to come in,
Yep.
how that can be done.
Anything else, Darren?
No, and just, hey, happy Mardi Gras once again.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And so, enjoy.
Thanks, Bill.
Nice color today.
Anybody else? Okay, we're done.
Okay.